2, 1. Good morning. No one wants to say good morning. Thank you. Okay. What we're going to be doing in this one, we're going to be setting up our user interface and design. So we're designing our user interface on this, which is part of your pattern. As you say, you look at the mark sheet, all action elements need to be described, and your layout should be good, and all of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by actually creating our project that we're going to be doing in this. We're going to use the RAD environment of NetBeans to design it. I don't see the point of designing it typically, then designing it in here. I would potentially have a rough layout in Excel or something just to say, okay, I want a screen that looks like this. You could use, you can even just merge, and you could have like, okay, I would want some buttons along the button or whatever. So you can do like a rough plan before, but you might as well also then, after you've done the rough plan, actually design the thing so you can think about it more and set up the layout, and it makes your coding stage a bit easier if you do that. So I'm just going to go to the Google Share. We're going to choose a location so you have access to it. In my case, it's under M2018 for you guys, and Pat step by step, and this is going to be now the actual Pat. So this is going to be the, what was it doing this on again? Crosswords project. Now, on the crossword project, I'm not going to create a main class. We're going to create a GUI on there, and we're going to click finish. We're now going to create our frame, so we'll go right click on our thing, new, and JFrame. I'm going to make it in the package GUI. Now, it's very important to separate your user interface from your working, and there's marks allocated in the mark in your rubric stating that how well have you separated your how well have you separated your working classes from your GUI. So no working out should be done in this. All your working out should be done in your backend, so you can plug out different GUI interfaces without having to change too much. So I'm just going to call this GUI, and it's my main frame, and this is where it's going to run from. So now I know that for my crossword, I'm going to need to be able to add questions. So I know I'm going to have a frame, and sorry, I am making this up a bit as I go along. I should have technically, before doing this, I should already have a plan. Okay, what frames do I need? What do I need to do in each frame? But I can kind of work out that I'm going to be needing a frame for edit, add, question. You'll also need to add topic, which you can do in separate frames, or technically you could just manipulate the frame so it would change in each one. But okay, so it'll be to add questions and a topic, and you'd have a topic to add topics within there. Now, on that note, we now have a next layout where we have to be able to our main frame, which would allow us to view the crossword. But I kind of need an administrative frame as well, which would allow me to distinguish between whether I'm displaying the crossword puzzle or whether I'm going to add a question or I'm going to do this, that, the next thing. I could make it inside a singular window, so in other words, I could have it so that the panel on the left-hand side allows me to choose, or a menu button allows me to choose, and the main area is the crossword. But that can be our choice. I'm going to potentially group things. So I don't like too many different frames. I do like to contain things within an individual frame. But that's your choice on that. So I'm going to leave it with these frames for now. So right now I'm going to start with my add question frames. I'm going to set up a concept of a basic layout, so I can do it in my Excel. So I just have an idea of what I want. And my concept in this case would be, I want to be able to, first of all, what information do I want? I need to know the question, the answer, and I need to know what topic there is. So if we look at our database, it's even can be potentially to open up your database and see, okay, my question, answer, topic, whatnot. So this is TBL crosswords. It should probably be TBL questions. So question, answer, topic, and level. So we're going to have those things here. So we need question, answer, topic, and level. Now, in a question, we always look at how we can prevent incorrect data getting in. Now, question and answer is very open-end. We can't limit that. That's the users typing in a full-on question, typing a full-on answer. We can't do any error handling there. But in topic we can, because topics is only a certain, we don't want them to choose a topic that doesn't exist. So we can actually make that a combo box which will list all the topics that they've got. And similar with level, we can make GUI controls to sort of both of these we can make GUI controls to prevent the user from being able to select stuff that isn't. So because topic and level isn't going to be long as a question and answer, my plan would be to make these quite large, and to make so actually even make that further across. So literally I'll be doing it like this. So it'll be a layout of very, very simply like this, obviously with a bit more space in between the different cells and whatnot. But this just shows you that what I actually need in there in the basic layout of what I've got. And probably along the top I'd also want some form of a header to just state that this is a add question. So I've come up with my basic plan of what I've got, and technically you could label this, and this you could submit as being your plan for your add frame. But I kind of like the idea, let's just get the thing working so it saves me time later. So now I'm going to set the layout to this to be border layout, purely because I think that allows me a bit more freedom in what I create. In other words, what I want at the top is I want a label at the top that's going to be my heading that will basically say add question. I can then mess around with that. I can go to my font types of there. I can change the size of it. I can make it bold. I can also make it so that the horizontal alignment is center. So I've got like a kind of add question in here. And I'm going to put a panel along the north of it as well, and a panel in the center. Now, the panel in the north, I'm going to set to be a grid layout. Actually, no, I'm not either going to set that to be a grid layout. I'm going to put a panel, I'm going to set that also to be a border layout. So I'm playing around, but now you see it disappears. If it disappears, you just double click on it, drag it open, you can work with that. I am then going to have a panel on the right of it, and then a panel in the center of it. Inside this panel, I'm going to set the layout of this to be a grid layout, and you'll see it disappears again. So this panel I can make bigger, and this grid layout I'm going to set to be 2 columns. So I'm structuring it as I go along. And on there I'm going to have a label, and the label is going to say level, and then I'm going to add the spinner. So the spinner will then allow the user to choose between it. So spinner, and here I could also access via code and sort of change it to the top and bottom. But right now I'm going to go to where it says spinner model. I'm going to click on the 3 dots of the spinner model, and I'm going to change it so it's got a model type is a number, and it's a number between a minimum of 0 and a maximum of, let's say, level 10 is our maximum for argument's sake. So now here, you could even take a print screen of this and include it in your document so that you're indicating that it has got, please use headphones, guys. So what we're going to do now, Rico? Yeah. Yeah, I think it is. Anyway, what we're going to do now is you can also set increment sizes and all the rest of that sort of stuff, but here it's going to allow us to choose the level, and it's going to limit the user to that. So on your document, when you're displaying the spinner, you're going to say that it's got the model out. You can even add a print screen of this to show that you've applied GUI components to limit what the user is going to input, which is error handling, well, prevention. So you're making sure that the errors cannot occur or the users can't input anything silly. Now, on from that, we're going to add in this component section here, I want a label. So let's set the layout of this to be a border as well. And I'm going to put the label on the left hand side, so like in the, not eat silkworms, in the west side of it. And then in there I will ask for the edit text. I want to ask there for, this is the topic of the question. And realize in your layouts you can also add different gaps. So for example, if I say 10, it will allow more gaps between each other and so forth. Inside this one, if I want to add more gaps, 10, it will just allow it to be, objects split up a bit more. Now the topic is going to we're going to have that from a combo box. In other words, the user can select from different things in the combo box, and you can see this does look a bit ugly. So if I sit there and put a bit of a border in it, I can make it so that they're a bit further apart from each other, and I can work with that. Now on this items, just for the sake of, I'm going to guess that the topics will be IT, semicolon, English, semicolon, geography, or whatever. Okay, well, maybe separated by commas. I should have looked at it before I deleted it. See if that works. Okay, there we go. So then we'll just have something. I mean, obviously, we're going to this. We would read when it comes to our sequencing. We'll say upon load of the add question frame. So as you open the add question frame, you should reinitialize your topics to make sure that your topics that in that combo box are going through that. And when we get into the coding, we'll learn that. But right now, we're just designing the GUI, so we don't care how to code it to make sure that it gets all of that. So our next step that we're going to do there is we now need our actual main things, and our main things is the question and answer. Now the question and answer we can lay out how we want. I'm assuming the question potentially can be quite long, but the answer would be generally quite short. So what I'm going to do is I like my board layout, as you could probably noticing. So I'm going to make a panel at the bottom in the north section of it, and I'm going to make a panel in the center section of it. The panel in the center section of it, I'm also going to set it to board layout, and I am going to put that one I'm going to put a label in the top, and I'm going to say question. So here you're adding the question that you're expecting the user to answer. Again, you can change it to be center, you can change what it looks like, whatever. And in the main panel, I'm going to add a text area. A text area allows the user to enter quite a lot of text. Again, if you look in the properties of this, you can probably influence what can go in there, but I'm going to do it more in the answer because I don't want an answer to go over a certain length because that might make things complicated on that. So now that we've got that, we're going to now go to this one. Now this one is for your answer, and we are going to set the layout of this to be actually a grid layout, and you'll see it disappears again. So you open up the panel separately, make it wider, and I'm going to change the grid layout. And I understand this takes a lot of sort of working it through, but you build your GUI up step by step so you can get it to look like what you want. So on this grid layout, I'm going to set 1 column, 2 rows, and I'm going to add a label to the 1 row, and this is going to be the answer, and then I'm going to add a text field to the 2nd row, and this is going to be where the user inputs it. So again, I can align the center. Now if I go back to my frame, which is my add questions frame, I've got a kind of add question dialog box that I think looks quite sweet. It's still a little bit it doesn't seem to give us too much of a gap between the outside, so I could look at putting something to embed that a bit more, go through the properties to try and get it to look a bit better. But I do think this is quite a decent looking one. I can change my different items, and this will allow me to add the question and the answer here. You might want to stipulate a specific size, so you might want a specific so it will stay like this level, and you can do that if you want. It is bugging me a bit that I haven't got this frame is kind of looking too in there. And you should also set the title of your frame, and remember you should name all GUI elements. So this is action element. This is an action element because the user can input data into there, so you must name it. So this will be text area question. So where the user is going to enter the question. This is going to be the answer, so change it to txt answer. Don't worry about renaming your labels or everything like that unless you're going to change them in your GUI. So in other words, this, if you change it in your working code, or if you change it in the back end, you must rename it. So in this case now, your spinner, SPN level, and we're then going to have a combo box CMB topic. So we have all our different things set up there, and we can, if you go to your frame, you can set the minimum and max size, make it not resizable. If you make it not resizable, it means that the user can't change the size of it, and you might want to do that just to limit what the effects the user can have on it. But I think mine's actually quite scalable. I think it looks okay big and it looks okay small. So depending on how you've set up your frame, you can work with that. But now my next job would be to put this into a Word document and to label it and say this question is where the user can input the new question, where the user can put the answer to the question, where the user can select spin box. You'll say, I've done error checking. You must indicate why you've added error checking there and what error checking you've added. Same thing with the topic. There is error checking. In other words, you've received that from the database, so you can get that from there. Now, so that's the question frame setup. I'm going to do similarly in the answer. Sorry, add topic question. The only difference in the add topic will probably be even simpler. Is all I require in the topic. So I go to my database in my topic, and I'll topic name and category. So this is going to be very easy. So I'm going to make this one very simple. I'm going to set the layout of this to be a grid layout. I'm going to make it 1 column by 5 rows. But that's not 5 rows. That's 5 rows. I'm going to add a label first, then I'm going to add a second label, then I'm going to add a potentially under the subject, the category, you might want to use a combo box for that, and then have like a 3 dots thing to do that. But for the sake of simplicity and for this video not taking too long, I'm not going to bother with that now. But you might want to look into doing something like that if on yours. Okay, so text field done. So this would be edit. Oops, sorry. Edit text, add topic. I'd make this into the same properties as there, where I'd make it a bit larger, make it bold, make it censored. I then here have a topic name. I would then change this to be blank. I would then change the variable name to be txt topic name, and then edit text category of the topic, and then again you could have edit text, and we could say, okay, you are going to be blank, and we change the variable name to be txt category. Now, one thing you must realize, because I'm coding everything in the same class, you might want to name things quite specifically, because I might have another frame or something that has a category as well in it. So you might want to be quite specific with what you're naming it. So maybe add topic category or something. So you might want to be very specific with what you're doing. But for now, I'm going to leave it at that. Now I'm going to design my main frame. Now on my main frame, I'm going to add a menu bar to it, because I do think that a menu bar can be handy to work with. So some apps are moving away from menu frames, so it's your choice. Any menu mo. Oh yeah, I'm going to move away from it. So I'm going to set your menu bar is over here somewhere. You can just add a menu bar and add menu items to it, and you can use a menu to run through it. So you can add a menu bar, add menu items, and the user can select it. You can create shortcuts to that. But I'm going to move away from it for now, just because I can. And I'm going to set up my main panel layout. So I'm going to have like on the left hand side here, I'm going to have we're going to have my action thing. So this is going to be my menu over here on the left. So what you can do is you can even set a border for it, and I'm going to set it to be a line border. And I think in the borders as well, we're able to set the padding, so you can actually maybe make it so that there's a bit more of a padding around the other one that I created, which looked a bit ugly. I'm going to make a title border, and I'm going to say the title as being menu here. Okay. And then at the top, I'm then going to create a label in the top, and I'm going to edit this text. Well, actually, I don't want it there. I don't want the label there. I want the panel to be in the center here. I then want this panel to be a border layout. I then want the label to be at the top of here. So you see now I can have my label rather in the center rather than directly on the outside. And on this label, I'm going to call this D-crosswords, which is going to be the name of my app. Yeah, so D-crosswords, I change the font to whatever size I want, and bold, whichever font type you want, and then you're going to make it center. And then now I want my main area where my crossword is going to work, so I'm going to put a panel in here. Now on my menu, what do I want to have in my menu? I know I want to have a, I'm going to have multiple buttons. So let's think about this first. So on my menu, I know I'm going to have to have a menu item. Okay, so this is my menu. My menu, I'm going to have to be able to add question. I'm going to have to be able to add a topic. I'm going to have to be, and then we're going to have another section in my menu which is going to generate crossword. And for the generating of the crossword, so this is sort of admin, if you will. So I'm actually going to categorize this as admin. So this is going to be my admin section, and then I'm going to have a play or generate section. And on your generate or your section, you'll have to choose the topic that you want to generate it and the level you want to generate it from. So that would be on how you would generate the question. Obviously, you'd have to have enough questions to generate a decent crossword in the database, otherwise it won't generate much. So it's actually two sections that I've got there. I've got the play or section, and I've got the other section. Now, I like this, but I'm also a little guys. There's too much talking going on. Too loud anyway. What's going to happen here is in this section here, we're going to have to add where the question and the answer is going to be and the physical crossword. So I might want to separate that into a different frame rather than taking it up here because it might not be enough space. So I might have made not a good call having my menu on the side here and then my crossword in here because it might make this section a bit too busy. But I probably could have my questions on the right hand side and then my other thing on the inside. Yeah, cool. I think that can work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a panel. Now this is going to be quite difficult. It's always quite difficult to add a panel after you've already done it because I don't want it there, I want it on the right hand side. So you'll see it's often in the order of events it can be a little bit tricky, but because I haven't done so much I'm just going to delete it. And then this I'm just going to move out for now. And then I'm going to now add, they've got a panel here, so I'm deleting that panel. I want a panel on this side and I want a panel in the center. And this one I want to set to be border layout, and then I want the label to be on the top of this border layout. And then I'll have a panel in the middle of that one. Yeah, so this will be my questions here. So I'm going to also set this to be border, title border, and then my main crossword will be actually in the middle here. But yeah, you can play around with this as you go along. But anyway, now the menu here, I'm going to set the layout of this menu to be a grid layout. And you'll see it will disappear, so you just double click on it, you open it, make it a bit larger. And I want to set this grid layout to be 1 column, 2 rows. Now I do understand this is challenging, but it will be cool, it will be worth it. So I want to make another border, title border, and if you want we can maybe take away the title and see how it looks. And this is going to be the administration. Or admin is probably just easier. So like now here's where you add questions, add that kind of stuff. And then this one, this is going to be where my game is going to be, so title border game. So I'm grouping them together. I can take them away later if I don't like the looks of it. So in my admin section, I want to be able to have 2 buttons, one to work with that, one to work with that. Now I want to actually make this a flow layout. I just want to see what our options on our flow layout are, because I actually want it to be a vertical flow layout. I don't think this one works on flow, so flow is not the right layout. I actually wanted to make it so it vertically pops towards the top. I'm sure one of these layouts will do it better than the one I'm going to do, but I am just going to make it a grid layout, and I want to set the grid layout to have 1 column but 4 rows. And the reason why is I do want to leave a blank area at the bottom, just because we don't have that many buttons here. So 1, 2. So I'm going to change this first one to be guys at the back there, you are meant to be working on your projects and or normalization. And girls, so not just guys. Okay, so you're showing, but that right then wasn't showing. That was you getting distracted from showing and working on something. Okay. Alright, so in our admin menu, we're going to have first add question, and we'll then also have add topic. So we'll sit there, add question, add topic. Now, so we've got our 2 different options there, add question, add topic, and in our game section, we want to be able to choose which topic they want to do, which level they want to do, and then you want to start game. So we actually got a couple of things here, so we're going to set layout to be grid layout as well, and I'm also going to make it a grid layout of 1 column by 5. It might not work well, but it'll be fine for now. And I'm actually going to add panels in here. Now I'll explain why I'm going to add panels in here just now, and then I'm going to have a button. So the first panel, I'm going to set this layout to be the grid layout, so set layout, border layout, and I'm going to put a label on the left hand side, and I'm going to say edit text, and I'm going to say topic, and then I'm going to put a combo box in here. Now remember, this is my second combo box that is for topic. It's in the same class. I've got 2 combo boxes which is for topic. So when I rename this one, I can't just call it CMB topic. I've got to say CMB game topic or something. So I have to distinguish it to what it's going to be. And remember, I think our topics that we had was IT, English, comma, whatever. Okay, it doesn't matter. This is just example data. And we'll have a label. Oh, sorry, I need to set the layout of this panel first. Remember, your layouts are important. I'm going to do border layout again. I'm going to put a topic on the left-hand side. So you lay out your frames with layouts. Set layouts. Think on your layouts. It's important. So topic, and the next thing other than topic would be your level. Again, I'm needing to change my border layouts, my grid layouts to have a bit more of a gap because I think this gap is looking a bit ridiculous. Whoa, too much. Okay, 5. Yeah. And you can mess around with that anyway. So now on our level, also in here we would want to have a little bit of a horizontal gap there to give it a bit of a space between it, and probably the same in level. In a level we need to use our spin box, and we would also do the same thing. So for those of you who are watching this and find out how to do it, spinner, add, you then go to your model. So this is bugging me. I was like 5. Okay, I'm then going to check my model to be, you do 3 dots on the model. You then say you want it to be a number, 0, and I think I said a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 10, if I remember correctly. But you must make sure this is the same as that. Okay, so now let's name all my action elements in here. So my question is an action element, so this is but question, or but add question would be probably a better name for it. But add question, but add topic. This is my, oops, I think I already changed the name of this. Yes, I did. And also same thing with here. This is my SPN level, but it's game level. Okay, and this would then be my play button. So edit text play, and then change variable name, but play. Alright, so we've named our things that we've created there. We're going to go back to our main frame here so we can take a look at how it looks like. I think that looks decent. If we go and preview it, it's looking okay. We'll have a nice area in the middle to display. We'll display the questions down here on the right hand side. But this is our main. Whoa, okay, it does look quite big, these buttons, but that's also quite sweet. Okay, so now we need to work on our questions on the right hand side. And on our questions on the right hand side, we can go and we can say, okay, we want to have a question and answer up and down. So we've got an up and down questions that we basically have got here. Now we can actually just have those as being text areas, which we can then format the questions and answers in using toStrings and stuff like that. So questions we can do quite nice and easily. When it gets to code, I could just generate it. So I'm just going to split it into down and across, or whatever they call it in crosswords. You can see I don't do many crosswords. So I'm going to set the layout of this to be a grid layout. Whoa, freak me out, man. And I'm going to set it so that it's got 1 column, 2 rows. I'm going to put a panel in the top, and I'm going to put a panel in the bottom. I'm going to set the border of this. I quite like using borders, as you notice, especially in this case. And this is going to be across. So all the questions for across is going to fall into there, and all the questions for down are going to fall into here. So title border, down. Okay, so we've got across and down, and inside there we can have a text area. Oh, hello. I'm going to set the layout of this to be grid layout, just because then it's literally fill up the whole thing. I'm going to change the variable this to be txt across. And I want to change the text area here. So same thing, set layout to be grid layout. I'm going to change the variable name here to be txt down. Now, with these ones, obviously we don't want the user to edit them. This is where we're going to do this via code. So there's an option here, editable. You untick editable, meaning the user can't get it. You can also change the background color if you want. I don't remember how to make it so it looks like it doesn't actually have a... I think you can even refer to which the background is, but... Oh, hello. Okay, well, let's just leave it like that, that's fine. So we've got our across and our down here, so we'd have our questions on this side, and then I can just use my toStrings and I just put enters between them to have the questions. It's uneditable by the user, so they can not click on these, they can't work with these. These will be generated, and then you can add that in your explanation here, saying that this is where the questions for the actual crossword that they're playing right now would work with. But this is your administration to add questions to topic banks and so forth, not to the specific crossword that you're working with, but to the overall topics and whatnot. Alright, So now moving on from that, this crossword panel. All of that's going to be predominantly generated by code, but I do need to set up at least the base of it to work so that I know it will add correctly. Now, in this scenario, I'm going to set out I've got a panel already in there, but now a panel needs to work with potentially the crossword might be larger than what is there. So I actually want a scroll pane inside there, and I'm going to set the layout of this to be grid layout, just so that the scroll panel will take the full way, meaning if my crossword gets too big, it's okay. And then I'm going to put a panel inside my scroll panel, and my scroll panel is going to be set layout to a grid layout. So at a later stage, when I know how many columns are wide, or how many, so for example, if I know that my crossword is going to take 20 by 20, I'll set it to be 20 by 20 in the code area. So this layout I'm specifically going to work with the properties of that layout. So this panel, I know I'm going to have to deal with in the code. I'm going to have to set the layout to be a grid layout and whatever. So I'm going to rename this panel. I know I haven't renamed all the panels, and that's because I won't need to refer to them in code. But in this panel, I'm going to have to add objects to directly so that the user can input information into it. So I'm going to call it pan crossword. Yeah, that's where the crossword is physically going to go. So I'm actually happy for the panel to be called pan crossword, and you'll mention that in your code. Now, it's not a must, but I would suggest I would get my add question button and my add topic buttons to work. So when I run it, I won't just see this screen here. I'd actually be able to run it, and when I click on this, it'll open up the frames. So I'm going to go into that. I'm going to make it so that those buttons work, and which means I'm going to make sure my navigator is showing me weird things here. Yeah, my frames are named. So when I tap add question, and I don't want you to code down here, I'd rather you to go view add question. So I want you to create methods rather up here so that it's easier for me as a marker to check what's going on. And it's your job to make markers life easier. What's in your best interest anyway. Add question, and in that, sorry, it's void, so it doesn't have a data type that it's returning. And in that, we're going to go frm add questions dot set visible to be true. Okay, and then also same thing when we tap on our add questions. I think I actually forgot to put something quite important in this add question. Hello. If it doesn't, that just click on something else. Yeah, I forgot on both actually. To explain what I forgot to add a button where you actually physically add. That's quite a big error there. So I want to make 6, and I need a button. Or you could just add, because there's enough things saying that it's a topic there. So we just add an add button there. I'm going to work with my grid layout and have a bit more of a vertical gap of, let's say, 5. Okay, and in here as well I need to add a button, so I need to figure out how I'm going to do this. So I've got a border layout here. This panel has got that stuff in here, so technically this layout here, I need to put a panel into its north. Let's see what happens if I just add a panel 3x. I don't particularly feel like setting it out again. Whoa, fail. So when I add a topic to it, I added it into there as a sub thing. Where did it go? I lost my panel. Okay. I don't know what I've done now. Okay, well, yeah, now. So I'm just going to have to think on this a bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a panel in. And I know this can be a bit fun. I'm going to set this layout. I'm going to set this layout to be border layout. I'm then going to drag these 2 panels, sorry, not those 2 panels, these 2 panels here into this panel that is created. Then this panel that doesn't have anything in, I'm going to actually change it out to be grid layout. And then I'm going to, in this panel, sometimes it does that, just double click on something else, then double click back on that. Okay, it can be frustrating, but trust me, it is easier than coding. From scratch all this. Alright, design, not easier. Okay, design this container. So if in doubt, code it. So this is now a grid layout of 2 rows by 1 column. I'm then going to add this panel to the top. So I'm going to add that panel I just made a temp panel from. I'm going to add it to there. And then I should quite easily be able to add a second button at the bottom of going add. So I got myself into a little bit of a predicament there, but I think I've gotten myself out of it. Let's just see. So now if I go back to my form question, design this container, there we go. I got myself out of the predicament I got myself into a bit in my design planning by just playing around a bit there. Yeah, I don't know how easy it is to explain what I did there. Anyway, so I hope that helps. So we've now got our frames here, it's going to work. But now when you click on the add button, I know normally you would actually physically add question. So add question is the method you're going to run, and you're physically going to add the question here. But because we're only doing the GUI components now, right now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to say public void view, add question, open bracket. So and this is where I'd call my working class to add a question. But right now all we're going to do is go frm add question, start set visible to be false. You also might want to change your txt question dot set text to be blank, so the next time you go into it you're not going to end up with the same question again. And same thing with the txt answer. You can leave the comma box and run it the same, but you don't want the same question and answer to be still displayed in there the next time you open it. The same thing would be happening with your next element. I'm not going to do that in this video because I'm not going to waste your time, which I might have already been a bit. But now when I click on add question, you guys said you won't see it, but it's opened up a dialog box in my other window. But it doesn't start off at a very nice size. It actually starts off like this. So what you can do is you can set up being a minimum size and say you want this to be a minimum. And I would actually make a dialog box like this. I would set it so it's not resizable, so it will stay at this size. And now I click add. When I click add, it will open add. And you'll see now, because I changed the question here, when I tap this, when I go back into it, the answer question on answer will not be there. I need a bit bigger than that because that's not got the question. But it will clear the question and the answer. So that's the size I would want to make this frame. I wouldn't want to make it resizable. I'd want to stipulate it that being a minimum size. So that's the last thing I'm going to show you, and then we're going to end this video. So if I go to my form, what I'm going to do is at first I'm going to make this form not resizable. So there's another option somewhere here that says resizable. I'm going to set my minimum size to be the size that I want it to be. So I'm going to set it to approximately, let's do 600 by 900. 950 just to be on the safe side, and we'll see what that looks like. And then I'm going to also go to resizable. I'm going to untick resizable. Make sure you save everything. Sometimes the GUI components don't actually run properly. You'll see now the run options disabled because I've actually haven't closed my program. And that's because certain elements aren't able to. So now, when I tap add question, okay, you don't see it, but it opened up this size. It's too big. So I'm going to have to change it to be a little bit smaller on there, so the height is a bit too crazy. So let's go back there, frame, minimum size. Let's try 600 by 600. It's quite square, but let's just check out how that looks and then we can work from there. But you guys get the idea. You literally just, yeah, so let's go open, add question. Now, way too big as well. So I want the height to be much smaller. It's going to bug me to end this video unless I get this at least looking decent. There's a minimum size, I lost the thing. Minimum size, let's do 600 by 400. Okay, play it. Last attempt. Hope this works. Add question. Okay, there's a question. That's better. It's still too long, I think, because this questions don't need to be that long, so I would probably make it a little bit short and a little bit wider. But you get the idea. Now, it's not resizable. The user can't change the way it looks. It'll pop up here. But this one here is a bit resizable. When I close those ones, it doesn't exit. When I close that one, it exits a program. And that is because my exit to close on this frame you'll see that my exit to close says hide when you exit, whereas on my main frame it says exit on close, and that determines what happened. Anyway, I hope it happens when you exit. I hope this helps. Enjoy your day.